Welcome, Debbie. We're so happy to speak with you today. And you've got a very special topic to talk about with us, which Kira's going to ask you in a moment. I just wanted to say, first of all, that if there's anything we ask you that you don't feel comfortable talking about, then obviously you don't have to. And we feel really privileged to be able to speak to you at this time because this is the ultimate view for drummer mamas to hear about and hopefully
Hot off
gain
the
some
press.
experience from you.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. I mean, I watch all of these and it's a real privilege to be invited on. So I'm very glad we got to make this work.
Oh, oh no, we're pumped. We're so pumped. Um, could you tell us a little bit about your family setup and about your wonderful news?
Wonderful news. Yeah, so we were talking about doing this podcast, I think a couple of months ago, right? And um I was before my 12-week scan and it felt crazy to do it ahead of that. So I felt really rude because I kept emailing you both going, I'll have to get back to you later, which I never do. So I was really glad. Aside from the fact that the pregnancy was healthy and all of the big stuff, I was also very glad to be able to explain why I'd sort of been really slow on getting back on doing this. But yeah, my family set up. I'm married, I have a wife, and we have just passed our first trimester. So we're 14 weeks now, and I'm carrying. Um, and it's just, I mean, yeah, we're going to get into it. And I'm also just equally as excited to hear how you guys have found it because it's wild, right? Like, there's no guidebook for it in the music industry.
No, absolutely not. In fact, we found there was a complete lack of information. So I hope that for you it's been a bit different.
No.
But we no.
This is my information. You're going to see me typing as we go. I'm going to be taking my own notes. It's going to be very, very
Can
useful.
can you take us through like the thought process before the pregnancy? What were you thinking? Was there anything you were worried about or afraid of?
Um, I don't think so. Not really. I lost my father a couple of years ago, and I think it just really just threw everything, the lid off everything. And I was like, I really want to do this now. I don't want to wait to for a better time career wise. I don't think that would ever come necessarily. I think it's always going to be really difficult. So that was sort of the decision making. Me and my wife were sort of like, we should just go for it. Fears, not really. I mean, it's a strange one. I think all the women in my family have experienced very good pregnancies. So I feel like if I have the same experience, it will all, sort of tick along, that'll be fine. I think if I have a different experience, it's going to be quite jolting, jarring, to sort of get used to that because I don't have those anecdotes at all. My mum said she didn't really feel she was pregnant until the 6th month, and I was sort of there with feeling sick as anything at week 6 going, oh my god, that's so different to mine. Yeah, so I don't know, not fears. I think I usually underestimate how difficult things will be and overestimate my ability at handling them. So I'm hoping I'm just going to be blissfully unaware until the birth, and then it will all dawn on me.
You've been on tour. Um, what's changed in tour life since you've become pregnant besides the baby bump growing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, well, first, let's start with that. I've started to wear silk pajamas on stage because I'm just like, all my bodycon dresses, I'm like, oh, I'm in that awkward phase where it's not really clear, but it's clear that it's clear that I'm gaining weight, but it's not really clear that it's a baby. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, like my dresses, I just wouldn't even want to try them on. We were filming something and we had to sort of wear the same thing that we wore last year for continuity. And I just called a meeting with management. I was like, I'm so sorry, I won't be doing that. And I hadn't told them why at the time, but I was like, I'm just not going to be able to do that. You're just going to have to trust me that I can't do that. So,
Did they
yeah,
look at you weirdly? Were they a bit like, "But why?" Did they, or were they like, "Fine, whatever you need"?
no, well, I think it's pretty obvious
Like,
I think they just thought, yeah, she's probably not going to fit into that dress quite so comfortably. But I mean, yeah, that was the whole thing, was like letting people know. And the reason was at the front of my mind was, I don't know if this is shameful to admit, but a lot of it was body image with work. I mean, it didn't feel necessary. You're sort of sharing with a lot of people that you wouldn't necessarily share immediately with anyway, but then you're on stage and you're in front of 20,000 people dancing through some of the songs, and it was really like, yeah, it was a real thing to sort of get my head around. Still is, absolutely still is.
and has any other areas of tour changed apart from maybe like wardrobe and image? I don't know, like practical things, like if you're feeling nauseous, or routines that you may have got used to that has changed at all?
Yeah, I mean, well, my rider has gone from some, I don't know, champagne to Greek yogurt with an eye mask. So that's changed. No, it's sort of fine. I think I sort of kept it under my hat for so long, and then when I spoke to everyone and I told them, and first it was just met with pure excitement, and then I had a meeting with management and they said, you know, we really want you to know that this isn't like a bad thing. We don't see this as a bad thing that you sort of have to just cover all the slack on. You know, if you need something, let us know what you need, because we employ you and we want you in whatever, you know, place you're in your life. Which I think I don't know, I sort of did them a disservice there, because that is always the impression I've got from them, and they're all great. But a part of me was like, you know, if I'm sick, I'm not going to ask for more. I'm just going to sort of make sure I can get it done myself. So it was nice to hear that it's, yeah, they were like, it's not a bad thing. Which, yeah, it sounds obvious, because I don't think it's a bad thing, but you don't always necessarily know how your employees are going to see it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was something that we were definitely worried about years ago, wasn't it? And I think you tend to always think the worst rather than the best.
Yeah.
But I'm really pleased to hear that you've had that reaction, because that's really good for you.
I mean, our tour manager was saying his wife's was a function singer, and she was in a band, and when she got pregnant, they sort of gave her a $5,000 buyout and were like, you know, this is, you're out, like, enjoy this. And he was sort of saying how ridiculous that was, and you know, so it's definitely not the vibe. Also, I mean, a lot of the people in the band are like granddads, you know. Now it's like, well, one's a granddad, so it's a very different experience to, I mean, there's so many things that's different to it, playing with a band like James, that sort of just know how they want to treat the people they work with. It's very different than that kind of, I don't know, like scarcity mindset of a young pop star. Everything's sort of like, you can't get that cab from the airport. You know, do you really need that? Do you really need this? Whereas James is sort of like, we only want to do this if it feels good and respectful to everyone. So yeah, it's very lucky that I'm sort of doing it now when I'm in this band.
Can you tell us a little bit about health and safety aspects? Have things been put in place for you with regards to that?
It's funny you should say that. We literally, there was a makeshift like railing so that we could go down the front of the stage into the audience the other day, partly for me, partly for Tim, because they were just like, this looks really dodgy. And me and Tim usually go down and we'll crowd surf, or we'll stand on the barrier and like hold people's arms and sort of stand up. I'm not going to be crowd surfing this year, PS. But yeah, they sort of made, it was like fashioned with masking tape and umbrellas and like a weird handrail that we could hold. But other than that, I don't think so. They've sort of said to me, you have to let us know what you're comfortable with, and we want you to work for as long as you feel comfortable. Which for me at the moment, I'm like, well, my waters could just break on stage, and I guess I'll do it. I love playing, but that, you know, that might change. So I think they're being more responsible than me at the moment, probably, by saying like, see how you feel, whereas I'm sort of just saying yes to everything. You've caught me at a very naive time, basically. I'm very ignorant to it all.
No, it's just you kind of have to see how it goes, don't you? You don't know until it happens. So
yeah, I think that was the thing. Like, I got worried that it would be like, we need to set, we need to put some contingency plans in place. So let's go ahead and see you in 2026, and that was a worry for many reasons. Like, I love my job and I don't want to be replaceable in it, but also like it's my income, and I feel like that can be a little bit of a awkward topic whilst people are saying, make sure you're looked after, make sure you look after yourself. I feel I am looking after myself by getting paid. So it's, yeah, but I mean, so far I've really not experienced any of that with the team and the band that I'm in. It feels very, very lucky. Yeah.
I know for me, drumming was like the normal thing for me. While everything else is changing, my body, if someone was to say, oh no, you can't drum now and do what you're supposed to be doing, it would feel horrific. Whereas I'm sure, I don't know, I get the similar sense from you. That's what you're used to. You've done it so much. This is your living.
Yeah, you're gonna have
that's like a comfort, right?
Anyway, aren't
yes.
You? Like, don't take away the drums, for God's sake.
Yeah, that's the one thing.
Take away my freedom, my sleep, my body image.
Not the drums.
Yeah, completely.
So,
did you guys both drum like really far into your pregnancies?
Yes, I drummed for Quinn. I drummed till I was 35 weeks, and then Indy, I basically drummed until, because she was late, so I was drumming on her due day, going, "Come on, get out," and it was fine.
Snare on, like full whack.
Yeah, like it wasn't like hours.
Yeah,
it was just, again, like a constant. I needed to have something to do, and actually, for both of them, I really felt quite creative because I was just had this time. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this and I'm going to film me playing, and I've got a massive bump, but whatever. Yeah, it feels good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's I remember you getting in touch with me and saying, like, I've just eaten a curry, I've just done this, I've just done that, I've just been drumming. Like, I really hope that she comes out. I was totally the opposite. I had basically a desk job, so I was just, wow, and that ended actually. So I don't know what I was doing that last part of the pregnancy, but I wasn't drumming. I just didn't feel like it actually, and that carried on for a little while afterwards. But it's come back. So.
Good. Yeah. I mean, I guess it could hit in different ways, can't it? And you just have to go with where you're at.
Yeah, 100%. You know best. You'll know.
I mean, I feel like being on stage is the only time that I'm awake with makeup on and like feeling pretty and like doing something I love. I feel like, honestly, I could just very easily go into full shutdown. So the gigs are like really, really good for me at the moment. They feel really good.
What was your approach when you discovered you were pregnant, in terms of telling the team and telling the band, and how did you approach that? Were you worried? Did you have one person to tell first? Did you wait for a certain like benchmark? What did you do?
Well, we sort of soft launched the idea at our wedding last year, because we had an IVF fund that we said if anyone wants to give something for a wedding gift. So, and the band donated to that. So I sort of knew that I knew that everyone was thinking about it, and that it was sort of going to happen at some point. I mean, telling people was fine. It's more just that massive period before you can tell people that was the most anxiety inducing for me. Like, especially with, well, no, actually, I guess it's the same in a straight couple if you're just trying forever and you don't know when it's going to happen. But like for us, the route that we took was like a 20% success rate. So we were sort of like, okay, well, I mean, I had like my calendar out, and Megan was like, this is really not that romantic. And I was like, well, if we gave birth here, I could still do the arena tour here. But if we gave birth here, I probably wouldn't be able to do that tour. And we're sort of like slotting it into my work. So yeah, I mean, we were lucky it worked first time for us. And then it's just sort of waiting until it feels like a safe time to tell anyone.
Mm.
But yeah, this was only 2 weeks ago that I sort of told everyone. As soon as the scan was done and it came back all good, and yeah, it was just met with a lot of love. I mean, there wasn't
Oh.
even like a knee-jerk panic from anyone, which I sort of braced myself to see a bit of worry. But it was really just like met with a lot of love. I mean, as I said, most of them have kids now.
Yeah.
As grandkids, like they were just like, we're just going to love seeing a little toddler around. There's been talk of like adding a playroom to the dressing room rider, and
What?
yeah,
Amazing.
it's quite cool, right? Like it feels quite different to how I imagine it with almost any other band I've played with. Yeah, because it could be a real inconvenience, right? If that's how you're gonna see it, if that's how you're framing it, it could be really inconvenient. It's like we need maybe more hotels, less like nights on the tour bus, all of that. Whereas all of that's sort of been presented to me as things that they're happy to do if needed.
That's awesome.
Mm.
So happy for you. That's what we all want, right? That's
It's the dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Have
Yeah.
you said Megan have you spoken together about ways that she can support you after the birth with your career? Like if it wasn't going to work out that it fitted around everything, did you kind of come up with a little plan for that?
I think so. So I think the plan is she's going to be at most shows next year. This is why she's not at many shows this year. Like I was like, don't you want to come to America? And she was like, I think I'm going to really see a lot of James next year. She was like, I'll give it a miss. Thanks, but no thanks. Yeah, I mean, that's what we've sort of braced ourselves for, is that she's going to be around a lot. And, I mean, I look forward to being able to do that for her for our next kid or whatever. But I think this one is going to be quite intense for her. She can work remotely, so hopefully that will sort of line up. But it's definitely a conversation that we've had where we've said this is gonna, for this time round, that this is gonna come first. Yeah, and it needs to be, because you'd be really naive to think that it is going to be someone holding the baby on the side of stage, isn't it, and taking them into the dressing room for you. And yeah, she's going to be around a lot.
Do you mind me asking what she does for a living?
Yeah, she's a pottery teacher, but she's also a writer. So we're sort of manifesting her first book deal lining up with this. Yeah, I mean, it's close. It's really close. If that happened, that would be good. Other than that, like, I think it will just be about working her pottery classes around, touring, and sort of seeing what we can do. But I'm lucky she's not really framed it in that way. She's just said, I'm good to support you this time, and I'll do the same, the next time.
Great. That's lovely.
Do you have any work plans for when the baby is here, or are you going to take time off? Have you thought about that?
I plan not to take time off. We've got some shows in South America when I'm like 36 weeks pregnant, and this is exactly, Gemma, I saw that face. I saw that gasp. That's the expression of my mum, my sister, Tim Booth, like everyone. That's been the right, like, wow, that's gonna be a lot. That's the bit that's the sticky wicket in the diary right now. I mean, like, I'm an overthinker. I was thinking about this before we even like had the fertility treatment. I think I've got to, just for my sanity, just take it as it comes a bit, and just sit in the the win that is everyone around me wants it to work as much as I do, and just sort of see what happens there.
Yeah,
because you could just get really overwhelmed by it all, couldn't you? You can't actually fully plan an unplannable thing. And I'm a
true
planner, so that's hard.
it is hard. It is hard because it's the unknown, isn't it? And you've just got to kind of try and just follow along and see what happens. But it can be right pain if you want to be like, no, this is happening, this is happening.
And also just how I want to mother as well, you know. I want to feel really present in everything. I don't want to feel like I'm thinking about the next step. I had a really good conversation with my sister about this, where she was like, if all you manage to do that day is get their socks on, just enjoy that, like just enjoy that. And I think that the more I start thinking about like every date next year and how it will work, I think I've maybe run the risk of just not actually enjoying what's happening.
Do you like drums and music by Taylor Swift? If so, I have a free gift for you. Head over to my Instagram page, Swifty Drums. Follow me, send me a direct message saying the word podcast, and I'll send you a full drum chart to Taylor's version of Style. Every week, I post a new video of a different song with a drum tutorial. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Sounds like you probably will have thought about this topic because you just said that you think about a lot of stuff. I wondered if you'd looked into maternity leave, what you're entitled to as a freelancer. And if so, can you tell us a little bit about what you've found?
I have no idea, actually. From what I can tell, it looks like it's really hard to see what's given as a benefit or what's given as, I don't know, that's like, I just so don't understand budgets, government budgets. Or is it just in the ether that we've paid taxes and that's what's available to us in terms of like statutory maternity? But I don't think that's the case with self-employed. And I don't know if it's an income thing. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like if it's something that I'm due, because I'm due it, then I'll be happy to receive it. But if it's something I have to apply for and prove that I need, then I won't necessarily feel like I need it enough. So yeah, I'm not sure. Do you guys know about that?
No, and I keep saying we need to do an episode where we get someone. I've got a couple of ideas. Hopefully we'll find someone from an association that we can ask these questions to.
Yeah,
maybe there's someone at the Musicians Union who would get in touch with us.
They'll love that. They'll love this chat. Definitely. That's right up their street. I feel like I've read something about if you can prove, you know, you have to be off the work sounds like a drug. You have to be off the work fully clean to receive it. But then if you have 5 days work, it can knock you off it.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's
you're right.
Really annoying for musicians, because I would feel I have predominantly taken a massive, you know, like back seat on my work, but I might have 5 gigs that I just can't not do. With James, that arena tour, for example, I would happily not look for other work and fill in the rest, but I would sort of need that to keep that job going. And if that knocks you off, then that's a bit annoying. So I don't know. It never feels like these things have us in mind.
Oh no.
So just the paperwork alone is, I always find, so annoying.
Yeah.
And stressful. And that's
I did it after the fact with Quinn. Was it Quinn? No, Indy, sorry. One of the kids. I did a whole I can apply for income that I lost, which was cool. But you saying the 5-day thing does come up in my mind. So maybe I'll message you after about that.
Do.
Yeah. With that, do you think the music industry is set up to support mothers? And what changes, if any, do you think need to be made?
I mean, if you've been in a band for a while, they should offer you maternity, really. I mean, they should. But I don't know, it's difficult, isn't it? Like, I feel like retainers are just having a moment, and in the UK anyway, it's always been a thing in the US, right? But there are very few bands in the UK that sort of will offer you a retainer. And that's kind of mad. Like, it's kind of crazy. I feel like crew get retainers quicker than the band do. And sometimes when I talk to crew about, like, I don't know, someone lets slip like what what they've earned, and you're like, that's really good. You think, I don't know, sometimes I feel like musicians, because it's the love of the job, but so is it a job if it's your passion, and blah blah blah, and you'd want to do it anyway, and all of that. I don't know, yeah, it's difficult. I also, I'm in a very privileged position in that I'm playing with a band that really do look after me. So, but I've definitely played in bands that haven't, and have thought, yeah, I mean, I've definitely had thoughts of, God, I'm never going to be able to have a kid in this industry. I don't know how it's done. And having to turn down 50 dates, 50 new dates with an artist because your main artist has 2 clashes and there's just no room for negotiation there, and that sort of a thing I've really just let go of the last year. And it's happened because I missed out on a really cool opportunity to be in a film, and there was one clash, and I just couldn't be bothered. I just couldn't be bothered with the headache of it, with playing with a band like James. If I let down the other person I would be, maybe doing it with, they've probably got less budget. You feel like a real asshole, them having to train someone else up. Feel like an asshole letting James down because you're a member and you're in the press shoots and they look after you, and so it's just really stressful. I honestly think you're better to just like budget really well. I think that's my thing, is just like manage finances so that you don't get yourself in those stressful situations, because I've never been more stressed than having 3 offers on the table and going and watching them sort of go like that, but then also sort of go like that, and go, I don't know how to do this. If I miss that, that's that much money and that's that many opportunities, and yeah, it's a nightmare, isn't it? So I don't feel like we're looked after enough in this industry, which is crazy because it makes so much money, right? Not necessarily for the artist, but it's making someone a lot of money. Like it's a big industry, and there just aren't that many rights involved.
Yeah, and I mean, women have been getting pregnant and having children for since time began, so it's not something that's new in the industry.
But like, where are they? You're the only 2 I know. I think you're the only 2 I know, actually. Like women that speak about it, that it's not this like shameful thing that's just not ever shared. Not shameful, but just like off brand. How wild is that it could be off brand? But at the same time, you don't want it to define you, and I completely get why you wouldn't want that, and in an industry where it's not going to be favorable anyway. But I don't know many women that have kids, and that was sort of normal when I was a session player in my early 20s, but now I'm like 33 and my friends are coming up to 40, and it's like no one's talking about it.
That was going to be my next question, to ask if you've spoken about it with any other musician mums or other people who are thinking about having a family.
Yeah, I mean, all of my friends female drummers know female drummers, right? I don't know if you guys are on like a big WhatsApp, but like it's just like I feel like I know everyone that gets a gig that's a female drummer, and it's like a tight community, and the few that I've spoke to have sort of been like, how have you managed that? Like you're still, like you've got a job and you're pregnant and they're happy. Like it is crazy. It is crazy. Yeah, and sorry, I digress a little bit, but when you were talking about how you felt telling them, well, if you look at the government website, if you look at the NHS, it says like you only need to tell your boss at 6 months. And can you imagine not telling your music boss as soon as you possibly could, so that it could be seen as rather like you're not helping us set up some contingency plans. We need to know what we're doing with this, visas. There's so many reasons why the pressure's on you to just be really transparent from as early as possible, in a way that it's not for any other industries, I think. But yeah, back to people talking about it. I mean, my female friends are just sort of like, that's very jammy. They sort of feel like I've had a really lucky experience with it, which I think it's true, but it's quite sad that to just be met with like excitement and is considered a lucky experience.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, truth. Oh, sorry.
No. I was just going to go on from that. Sorry, Kira, because well, both of you going a little bit off our trail, but I wondered if you have kind of had any conversations with, and I'm mainly thinking about women drummers, but it can be any women who play an instrument, that they have the feeling they would want to have a family, but they maybe keep putting it off for whatever reason, and they don't really know how to get over that.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And as I said, like that was sort of like a really far in the pipeline problem when I started playing with Charli XCX when I was 20, you know. I mean, I wasn't thinking, how's this going to fit into like how I become a mother? I don't know. I just did not think about it at all. And I didn't really think about it until I started to think about it. And like, it's a very young industry, isn't it? Like you can very quickly find yourself being the oldest woman in a band if you're a pop session player in London. In my experience of it, it's like all of a sudden I was suddenly like, everyone is 18 in this band apart from me, and they've hired me because of my experience, and I guess I look cool, but I'm suddenly like very aware that I'm like 5 years older than everyone, and then like 6 years and 7 years, and it's a really young industry. Pop, you know, like pop kind of, that world is very young. So I know a lot of players that are sort of just feel like they're keeping their head above water by being there, you know, at 36, 37, playing for like a young kind of pop band where the bassist is 19 out of music school. I've never really known where that progression goes if you don't want to be in theatre or jazz, or I don't really know where the pop, I guess it just is those lucky gigs where people don't care about it, but they're sort of rare, I think.
I think that we haven't seen many women actually reach that stage and progress yet. I mean, it's always been fine, hasn't it, for men to be playing a gig and pop into their 50s, 60s, but we haven't had that sort of wave of women coming through.
Completely. I'm not going to name names because it's really savage, but I remember a very big boy band having a backing keyboard player and like sort of looking at them and being like, I think he's about 45. He's just got sunglasses on, but he's definitely about 45 back there. You'd never have that with a girl. Like, I feel like, yeah, age is such a currency in our industry. If you find a way of making that not the case, then I think you've done really, really well. But it's definitely a thing I've been aware of.
I hope that changes. I really do.
It's not like that in America. Like, it's not like that in America. I know session players that are like, you know, 41, 42 playing with like, I feel like Ariana Grande's band could be in their 40s and she could have a woman and it would be cool, and they could be older. It's like, I don't know, it's just feels like it's seen more on an experience musicianship level, maybe. Is that dated? Am I wrong? Does that feel different in the UK now? It doesn't feel like that to me, but
no, I do think it's quite young in the UK, just like everything you've said.
yeah.
But you know, maybe you can help change that.
Yeah. I'll just grow old.
No pressure.
But women everywhere. Me at 80.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, I love to see it. Like, I
Yeah,
went to a gig in London. I think it was a few years ago. A friend of mine was playing the drums, and she was really nervous for it. And the singer was this glorious. I don't know her name, but she was in her 60s, and she just came out in this like head to toe sequin number, long hair. She even had a cigarette, and I just thought, oh my God, who are you?
cool.
I want to be you, and I'm older, minus the cigarette, but she was amazing. What is coming up for you? Tell us about your future plans, if you will, besides baby.
Besides baby. I have I feel like I always announce things that haven't been announced. Let me just pick mine. Actually, hold on. I'm going to refer to the James website because I know that's a safe space. Give me 1 minute. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we've got some gigs this summer in Europe and England. We have a North American tour coming up, and we have the South American dates, which I'll be very surprised if I'm there, but currently at week 14, I see no reason why I won't be there in Mexico at 36 weeks. I mean, we sat for a meeting for that, and I was like, I'd really like Megan there as well. And our tour manager Tom was like, is that because you feel you need the support, or because? But I was like, well, no, I'd be worried the baby would pop out. And he was like, right. Just like shaking as he took notes, just having that land, what that would look like in Mexico. So yeah, that's what James have coming up. I'll find out closer to the time what that looks like. And next year's the same. I mean, it's difficult. I feel like I'm someone that really likes to think more, and like more is more, and expand. But I think for the next year, I'm just gonna sit and enjoy just playing in James and sleeping, and just, yeah, I mean, me and my wife are moving house, and she's got a lot on with her work as well. So yeah, that's it for now.
Can you
Amazing.
tell me, my maths is not good enough, and I also forget the whole thing about the week, so it's really important when you're pregnant, but after that I've forgotten. When about is your due date?
Well, I'm glad you've asked this, because this is really, am I allowed to swear?
Yes.
Of course, Kira swears all the time.
Really fucking unfortunate. But as I said, let me just give this a backstory. As I said, we didn't think it would work first time, and we sort of started thinking that maybe the 3rd or 4th month it would take. Anyway, the due date is the 25th of December.
Oh wow.
My God.
I mean, yeah. It just, I don't know, that's like the least of my problems right now. But that, have you either of you born around Christmas?
Both my kids were born in December, and December it's just always busy because everything's going on, and now we've got everyone's birthdays, but
yeah, it's going to be difficult. They're going to have to share that. It's going to be very, very humbling, I think. But I thought it was going to be like a March baby or something. Yeah.
Wow.
I'll either push or I'll hold. I'll try and get it to the 24th or 26th.
They're not usually born on their due date, so you'll be fine. I'm sure you'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree.
How long over your due dates were you, Kira?
10 days for Indy, the second baby. Everyone was saying, oh, it's your second baby, she'll come early, but she was 10 days late. Quinn came a week early, and my waters just broke while I was just listening to my hypnobirthing MP3. I just felt this weird thing. I was like, oh, that's what that's like.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
that's good I mean, that's good for me to remember. That could be me in Ecuador, couldn't it, really? So I need to have
but that was week 39, so
I think you're safe. I was safe to fly. I don't know about a long haul flight, but I flew to Portugal in my 36th week, and I had to get like a doctor's note that I had to show everywhere at all the airports. They were all really on it. But I mean, I'm sure that'll be fine.
yes.
Yeah, well, it's a 16-hour flight.
Have you got something planned? Sorry, Kira. Have you got? Is there a plan? Is there another drummer that you've got kind of lined up for?
Yeah. I mean, that's it, isn't it? I mean, this is me in real time working it out here with you now. I mean, I've got an amazing friend who's gonna smash it if she had to take over. I don't know. Everyone's like, you won't want to do it then, like you're not going to want to do that. But again, it feels like there's like such an identity shift. And I think for now, whilst I don't even look particularly pregnant, it's really strange to think about how that's going to mentally change. And yeah, I mean, I was planning on hiking Mount Everest base camp next year, and it's with this company, and I sort of like sweet talked some like semi discount because I suggested that my followers on Instagram would be very interested. Jury's out if anyone would ever do that because they've seen me do it on Instagram. But they messaged me the other day and they were like, yeah, you know, just to remind you of your discount. And I sat there and I got my laptop and I got my calendar open and I was like, 5 months postpartum.
Oh my God.
Training begins. And Megan just came over and ridiculous. You're a ridiculous person.
I fucking love that. Yes.
I love it. I love it if you do it, but I also think it's totally fine if you don't.
I mean, I think we know I won't. I mean, my experience so far is just tiring. Like, sleepy. And I feel like seasick. Oh, it's passing now, but for like 8 weeks, I just felt low level nauseous most of the time. It's wild.
Yeah.
Is it kind of
about it? Probably. I just maybe didn't listen. I don't know.
Is it like at particular times, or is there anything that helps, or it's past now? Has it?
8 a.m. to 6 p.m. was my short
What?
It was just
oh my God.
I didn't throw up, but I just felt like a little bit queasy. Yeah, and the only thing that like I really like sparkling water with lemon. That's my thing. And as I can't like, I don't know, I can't have a drink before the show, or I can't really do any of the things I would have usually done. Not that I did too much before, but anyway, now I'm just chugging sparkling water and lemon, and then as a result, there'll be like maybe a song in the middle of the set that I'm not on, and I get to dash to the loo. I don't know how I'm going to do a 2-hour set after that. Well, already it's a challenge. You just need to pee all the time as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. True.
You know what? It's good that you're like just chugging fizzy water, because I was just eating biscuits and that was not a good habit to create.
Well, I mean,
just have a biscuit. Yeah, it made me feel less sick.
Also cornettos, ice cream and things. But yeah. No, I'm just tired and needing to pee all the time. I'm very happy. But
I'm interested to see how your rider will turn out over the next few months. I'd like you to keep a note of it and tell us.
I'll send you updates. Yeah, it's peanut butter and Greek yogurt at the moment. That feels like if all else fails with catering, and I didn't know there was so much you can't eat. I mean,
that's a total pain.
We could go for hours on this, couldn't we?
Yeah. There's also a whole other list when you're breastfeeding and stuff. If that's what you decide to do, then that's a whole other world as well.
Yeah.
Can I just touch on something? So you were saying about possibly doing a gig when you're 36 weeks pregnant, and many people are like, you might not want to. I also feel like it's really important to say it's really okay if you do want to and you do it. Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but there's something there for me where when you're pregnant, it's almost like people will assume you will feel a certain way and that you will not want to do the career that you've been doing for donkey's years. And there's some sort of, I don't know if there's some sort of shame tied up with that. Like, oh, well, at that time, you definitely won't want to do that, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just think it's okay to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, completely. It's okay to do it. It's okay to want to do it. It's okay to think you want to do it and then decide you don't want to do it. It's I mean, it comes from good intentions, though, because I think people are sort of just, I mean, I really respect that the people in that position of authority, I guess you would say, are saying it's totally fine if you don't.
Got you.
But yeah, it definitely I'm the kind of person that sort of like, well, then I definitely want to, and what are we even talking about? But I definitely want to do it. If you've suggested I might not want to do it.
You might find at the end of the pregnancy that you've got loads of energy. And some people are also like that. It goes totally the other way. You just can't really predict.
That would be nice, Gemma. I'll hold you to that.
Yeah, definitely, because people start nesting, don't they? And they like start painting the wall and doing all sorts. I built loads of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I did loads of decorating. Our house was so clean. It's never been that clean ever since.
I guess you're awake more hours in the day. tragically. Only sleeping for 2 hours a day leads to more time.
Yeah.
I mean, my best friend's just had a baby, and her experience, just actually sort of seeing what the non-perfect outcome looks like, because she's got a baby that's like gets really ill all the time and isn't feeding well, and she's sort of like, I threw up the other day because I'm so tired kind of experience. And that's sort of making me go, okay, yeah, buckle up, like we don't really know. I think I know how it'll be, but I don't really know how it'll be.
It'd be great to do a part 2 with you.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, we can,
if you have time,
screen grab of this face, the smile, and then you'll just see it. I'll be like the girl from The Ring, and there'll be a little baby. I'll fall asleep on the Zoom. You'll have to call me to turn it off.
Oh, it'd be great. That'll be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd love to.
Amazing.
I'm really so grateful to you for speaking to us at this time, because it is so unique. It's really the dream that we could have someone to talk about this phase. So thank you.
Yeah, no, honestly, it's as we said, like, I don't know anyone that sort of spoke about this. I remember speaking to you about how far can you drum before you worry about their hearing, and like it's literally just women sharing their own stories. There's no bigger kind of book that you read from on all of this. But yeah, I mean, I am just really aware that I'm so far, touch wood, having like a very good experience with work and things. So it must be really, really different. And I'm sure a lot of the things I've said are just not going to feel that relatable to a lot of women in like function bands, or, you know, that they're just like, well, you just can't. I'm sorry, that all the best will in the world, like, we just can't give you maternity pay or whatever it is. So yeah, it's just, I guess it's just like one story that's maybe not that relatable, but happy to share it anyway.
I think it's really inspiring. I think it's really lovely. It's a lovely example of how it can be and how it should be, I think.
Yeah.
So thank you for your time.
Thanks for listening to the Drummer Mamas podcast. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please leave us a 5-star rating, because it makes us more visible to other listeners. And we really do appreciate any comments or reviews. It makes a difference. Thanks again, and see you next time.